Look at the room tonight. Round of applause right off the bat. Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm John Cornish, Chancellor of this great University of Calgary. And here we are located in the heart of southern Alberta. And we both acknowledge and pay tribute to the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7. This includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. The University of Calgary is situated on land northwest of where the Bow River meets the Elbow River. And this site is traditionally known as Mokahinsis to the Blackfoot, Wishinspa to the Stoney Nakoda, and the Goodsitsi to the Tsuut'ina. On this land, and in this place, we strive to learn together, to walk together, and to grow together in a good way. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is a packed room. I heard 280 people out tonight. Another round of applause. Good whistle there, good whistle. So this is the University of Calgary's 2024 Lecture of a Lifetime event. So first, let's start off with a little bit of background. The Lecture of a Lifetime was launched in 2008, and the University of Calgary Senate wanted to recognize some of the community's greatest accomplishments in teaching, research, collaboration, and a lifetime's worth of wisdom. The idea of a lecture series was inspired by a talk by Dr. Randy Posh, who gave that talk in 2007. And Dr. Posh's presentation was part of Journeys, a Carnegie Mellon lecture series where faculty members were invited to share reflections on their life journey, the everyday actions, decisions, challenges, and joys that make our lives what they are. Only a month after doctors told him he had less than 6 months to live because of pancreatic cancer, Dr. Posh presented a lecture to a packed audience called Really Achieving Your Childhood Dreams. He talked about trying to achieve his own childhood dreams, dreams that included becoming a professional football player, experiencing zero gravity, and developing Disney World attractions. And when I was reading the script, I was immediately attracted by that. I was a professional football player. I wanted to go to space. But, the Disney World attractions, ever since the Disney Star Wars came out, I got my own personal reservations about working with Disney. But Dr. Posh's speech was a deeply moving and very funny talk. Dr. Posh shared insights about finding the good in other people, working hard to overcome obstacles, and living generously. The Lecture of a Lifetime series at the University of Calgary reflects the same desire to recognize personal and career achievements. And it's a way for our community to come together and celebrate our own stories. So tonight we're going to hear from inspiring individual whose work in the realm of artificial intelligence is both multi-award winning and encyclopedic in scope. Dr. Marina Gavrilova is a professor of Department of Computer Science and is a co-director of the Biometric Technology Laboratory and the Research Excellence Chair in Trustworthy and Responsible Artificial Intelligence. Now, I'm not sure if all of you in the audience understand. I mean, you're here tonight, although the truth is you could put AI in front of something and people are going to show up. But this is an incredibly important area of research. So I hope you are all so excited to learn from her, the same ways that she's graduated over 100 trainees in undergraduate research, all the way from students to postgraduate fellows. And she's sparked a passion for science and technology in many young aspiring scholars through her advocacy and engagement in the global community. In a moment, I'm going to welcome one of Dr. Gavriola's former graduate students who will share her experience with Dr. Gavriola's invaluable mentorship. But first, I want to acknowledge some special people in the room tonight, and you know how I do it. We're going to do a two clap. So I say two clap and you, and that's why the two clap's so great. It's always, the response is always bad on the first one, but the second one, two clap. You see, that's why it works. Two clap for the, I got to finish talking first. Two clap for the past and present Past and current senators. This is an event put on by the senators, and that's how you're going to greet them? Past and present senators. Members of the University of Calgary Alumni Association leadership team. Members of the senior leadership team. A past lecturer of a lifetime speaker series, Dr. Jay Cross. And I'm not sure if Dr. AOJJ is here, but 2 clap for him too. And a 2 clap for you all, the UCalgary supporters and community members that have joined us this evening. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Shika Nayari, senior analyst in the University of Calgary's international relations teams and one of Dr. Gavrilova's alumni. Please join me in welcoming Shika Nayari. 2 clap for Shika Nayar. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Cornish. I can't make it as entertaining as him, but I'll try. So hello, esteemed guests and friends. It's truly an honor and privilege to stand before you today and being able to introduce Dr. Marina Gavrilova, an expert and leader in biometrics and artificial intelligence. Before we welcome her on stage today, I would like to share a glimpse of my own journey that intertwines with her remarkable story of Dr. Gavrilova. I began my academic journey in India, where I completed my bachelor's in engineering. Despite this achievement, I still found myself uncertain about the future path. To satisfy my desire for knowledge, I came to university in 2009 to pursue my master's in computer science. It was at that time, 15 years ago, that I met Dr. Gavrilova as her master's student. During my journey through my master's, Dr. Gavrilova became not only my supervisor, but a trusted and a very engaged mentor, the guidance I would cherish for years to come. Her Sparks lab, the Spatial Analytics and Computational Science lab, became a place where my love for data science, project management, and strategic thinking nurtured and cultivated. Though I completed my master's in 2011, we have stayed in touch all these years, and I'm grateful to still being able to call her a mentor and a friend for sure. Dr. Gavrilova's commitment to her alumni is exemplary, as she continues to engage and inspire us after long we have walked the halls of academia. Her teaching practice is marked by unparalleled engagement, availability, and embodying the true essence of mentorship. Her guidance has been instrumental in shaping not just my professional journey, but my personal growth as well. My presence here today echoes the enduring bond forged 15 years since I embarked my master's journey. It is a testament to profound connection she maintains just not with me, but many of her alumni. She constantly extends a helping hand, demonstrating her dedication and support in guiding through our professional and academic journey. As a leader, Dr. Gavrilova's impact goes far beyond the confines of academia, championing initiatives that empower women in science and excellence in this field. Her groundbreaking research delves into intricate realms of biometric data proliferation and its profound impact on redefining the understanding of human identification. Through her work, she has introduced innovative models and information fusion, unraveled complex relationships between human behavior, emotions, and social interactions. Dr. Gavrilova's research extends to design and development of trustworthy, explainable, ethical decision-making applications that span from cybersecurity to health. Her lecture today offers an insights into intricate realms of AI and biometric, shedding lights on transformative power of technology and ethical considerations that accompany it. Through her talk, we will glean insights into profound impact of AI on our daily lives, from healthcare delivery all the way to cybersecurity. Dr. Gavrilova's journey as a woman, as an immigrant, a mother, and a science expert serves as a beacon of inspiration, showcasing power of resilience, determination, and community engagement. As I stand here today, I'm reminded of many ways she has touched not just my life, but lives of many others. It is truly an honor to be introduced trailblazer Dr. Marina Gavrilova, whose contributions to the field of biometrics and artificial intelligence continue to shape our understanding around the world around us. Her legacy of mentorship, friendship, and excellence continues to inspire us all. So, thank you so much. I did my master's with Dr. Gavrilova in 2009. I still remember those days. As a teacher, Dr. Gavrilova was a very hands-on kind of professor.
Dr. Gavrilova fosters a supportive environment. We as students always felt encouraged to explore new ideas, new venues, take on challenges. She promoted collaboration, critical thinking. Her role as a mentor and as a friend have been equally impactful.
She's kind of a role model for all of us in her lab. She listened to us with empathy, with compassion. She was her authentic self, and she led us to be our authentic self.
In our lab, there is a practice to present our work, and other students, professors, and peers criticize or finding loopholes in my methods. So I had a practice of handling the criticism in a constructive way. The way she trains me, I apply those skills and knowledge for solving the problem in my current work.
She's a multidisciplinary researcher, and her background spans from geometric analysis to neural networks. It allows her to conduct research across multiple disciplines.
She's very profound and very respected in her research area. People definitely will be able to gain a lot of knowledge in this lecture.
I think the audience will find it quite insightful with the practical examples and research experiences that Dr. Gavrilova is going to present. From AI for good, such as AI for healthcare, security, smart cities, to potential harms of AI.
How to deal with data breaches, how to deal with bias and discrimination, how to address the profiling, the surveillance, or lack of transparency in all the new models in AI. I hope that people who attend the lecture would have a better understanding of these challenges and how to address them.
I want to congratulate Professor Marina for the well-deserving Lecture of a Lifetime Award. Best of luck to our respected Dr. Marina Gavrilova.
All right. What an amazing event it is. I'm so glad to see all of you in this room. It's just incredible to receive this award, and it's more incredible that so many people from all walks of life, my colleagues, my alumni, senators, administration, industry, friends, they're all here today in this room. I was thrilled to receive this award, and I was truly humbled with this incredible recognition. I'm grateful to University of Calgary senators, Chancellor John Cornish, who so wonderfully presented and entertainingly presented me here today, University President Ed McCooley, Vice President William Galley, and all the incredible people around me whom I had the privilege and honor to work with and to collaborate and to cross our paths. So when I received a phone call from the Chancellor, I was excited, and then I was truly amazed. I felt that this is probably mission impossible. I have to present 30 years of my work in 30 minutes on stage. How am I going to do it? So here I'm trying to attempt and do just that with my mission impossible task. I decided to start at the very, very beginning. And these are some of the inspirational quotes that always guided me through my career. The greatest danger for most of us is not that we aim too high and that we miss it, but that we aim too low and we reach it. So the first chapter of my story is about keeping our eyes high, keeping our dreams alive, and always aiming higher than we could ever possibly think we could go. And the second one is by Grace Hopper. The most dangerous praise in the language is we've always done it this way. And she is a computer scientist, a creator of the computer language, Naval Admiral, and she is true inspiration for many women in science and who led the path for many, many young generations of women in STEM, women in computer science to follow. I started my career and my inspirations in Russia. I was born to the humble family of environmental researcher and a computer engineer. And when I was a very small girl, I remember one day I was riding in the car and looking up in the window. And in this window, I saw this incredible, imposing, poignant building of the Lomonosov Moscow State University that's been stood there, and the hallways of this incredible academic institution were walked by top scientists and top researchers in the world since 1755. And as I looked at it, I said, this is incredible. This is the most amazing place. I probably would never be there, but how cool it would be if one day I would walk in hallways and learn from people who work there and who teach and inspire us. Well, 10 years after that, exactly that happened. I submitted my application and applied, and myself and my husband, Dmitry, who is here in the audience with us today, we both got accepted to start our journey in Department of Computational Mathematics and Cybernetics at Lomonosov Moscow State University. So that door was opened. After that door opened and we completed our 5 years program, we both graduated with a diploma of honors, and we decided that we need to take it further, and we decided to pursue doctoral studies. We didn't know much about Canada at all. We simply knew it was far away on a different continent. It was very, very cold in winter, but we decided to give it a try. University of Calgary welcomed both of us and provided incredible opportunity through the Killam Scholarship Award and Answer Scholarship Awards. We continued this journey through the hallways with our supervisor in mechanical engineering, Professor Oleg Vinogradov, and my supervisor, who is here today, Professor Yohan Rokna in the computer science department. So that was not too high to look, and we made it here at this amazing city, at this amazing university. But the very first place where I started my career as academician was on stage, and it was the Faculty of Arts here in the University of Calgary, where when I was a graduate student, I get to play the role of the Glinda, the Good Witch, in the stage rendition of The Wizard of Oz. And so I had to come on stage on a skateboard, and I had to do the trick on the skateboard that I wouldn't risk doing here, with definitely a realistic threat of me not completing my speech if I do that. But this particular stand is standing here to say this is how it started. And this was my first networking, collaborating opportunity where I get to meet behind the stage professor who worked in this department, because we had to rehearse in the evenings, on the weekends, and then it did amazing. So here I am. This is AI rendition of me coming on stage on a skateboard generated by Meta AI. And then things magically happened, and I applied for a position of the tenure track position within the Department of Computer Science, and I was offered this position. And I remember that amazing feeling when the very first time I walked in this mail room in the Department of Computer Science, not as a student, but as equal, as a faculty member, as one who's going to teach and one who's going to lead. And this is an incredible feeling if you ever experience it in your life. It tells you that I belong in this room, I belong in this space, I can do amazing things, I'm worth it. And I held on to this feeling, and absolutely truly, a couple of days ago, as I was working on finalizing this presentation, fairly late in the evening when nobody else was in the Faculty of Science office, I walked in this building in the Faculty of Science office, and I had exactly the same feeling as 20 years ago. I belong here. I am listened, my opinion is important, I can make difference. All right, so when I was starting my career, one of the colleagues of Professor Jon Rokne introduced me to mass genealogy project. So this project looks at where we come from in terms of our academic career. My supervisor, Professor Jon Rokne, who was also head of the Department of Computer Sciences here in the audience. His supervisor was Peter Lancaster, goes all the way to William Hopkins at University of Cambridge, and Adam Sedgwick, a fairly famous scientist. Then it branches out. One of those branches goes all the way within the domain of geometry, and it goes to the French School of Geometers. Another school of thought leads straight to Isaac Newton and Blaise Pascal and Galileo Galilei. And I was told, hey, you have Isaac Newton as part of your great scientific advisors. So no pressure, but just try to do good. And I tried. I did try. So I believe that our careers as scientists should span creativity, science, and art. And of course, we know Ada Lovelace, who famously said that mathematical science constitutes a language through which alone we can adequately express the great facts of the natural world. And Sofia Kovalevska mentioned that it's impossible to be a mathematician without being a poet in its soul. So I started with studying Warner diagrams computation geometry, and it's a fascinating data structure that essentially allows to create subdivision of the space on segments that are equidistant from its centers. If you do this experiment at home, if you just drop 2 drops of the water on the very even surface, you will see concentrical waves originating from the middle. And as they meet in the middle, they draw the bisector. And when they meet in this bisector, this is where the edges of the Warner diagram align. At the bottom here, you see the tree crowns growing up. And as they grow, they also form Warner diagrams. And we can see it everywhere in nature, from bubbles on the water to shapes on the skin of the giraffe, to the bee hives, to the leaves. So what we did in Sparse Lab that Bashik Kanair mentioned, and I'm very honored to have here as one of the graduates from this lab, is we did research on how we can use the space subdivisions and apply it for surface reconstruction, as you can see in the work of one of my first students, Russell Apu, apply it to create corals and simulate coral growth, to look at the landmark recognition and the maps, to find the paths within the obstacles, and we did this research with the Canada Coast Guard and Canada Environment Agency to prevent the oil spills of the coast of Nova Scotia and Vancouver Island. Then we applied it as well and started to apply it to biometric research, to fingerprint recognition and to face recognition. And at the bottom, I have work by Priyadarshi Bhattacharya when we created clustering, unique clustering based on Warner diagrams. And we use this diagram, which is called smiley face, because we always like people to smile in our lab. So we're talking about it. We say we call it a smiley face diagram. But here, I'm going to make you smile and put a little bit my family on the stage right here. So I try to involve kids in my research early on. Essentially, I just took the pages of my thesis dissertation and let them draw on it. My older son, Andrei, created this wonderful figure, which is called the tennis dude. Then we also have the rocket blast off. We have the cube confusion. We have the solar energy cells and the triple sunshine. Not only this work was actually represented in the art exhibit, because at this time I was running the conference on international Voronoi diagrams, and it was represented in South Korea in Seoul as an art exhibit as part of the bigger show. But also you can see that they're already looking at the next key research areas within the Faculty of Science. It's quantum computing, reusable energy, sustainable energy, solar power, and space exploration. So, and that was way, way back. This is maybe 20 years ago. So moving on, and with my research evolution, I call computer science, and I always say that it's much more than the study of the algorithm. It's the creation of intelligence from data, and intelligence that helps us to understand the world. So I ran the special issue of the journal Robotics and Automation magazine, and I called it Finding the Right Path. And it's always resonated with me, because in life we also need to find the right path. Where are we going, where we take our career, what is the next exciting project that we're going to work on. And then I worked on Voronoi diagrams, this exciting, amazing data structure that I represented. I was studying it in higher dimension in non-Euclidean metrics, so it was quite theoretical work, but it had some practical applications to computer modeling, material design, as well as creating computer graphics and triangulation. Then around 2003, I co-created two of the laboratories. One of them is Sparks Lab, another is Biometric Technologies Lab, and we have students from this lab here today, and alumni as well. And we started to apply this geometrical principle for face recognition, fingerprint recognition, gait recognition, and to some other applications. We also applied it to path planning, created multimodal systems, and used the same methods, information fusion, to recognize avatars within the virtual reality domain and virtual reality scope, all the way to my most current research on trustworthy and explainable artificial intelligence for decision making. Chapter 3. So I wanted to break a little bit the discussion about research and move on to how I built my career around networking, how we support each other within this domain, and how we inspire others, and how we bounce ideas of each other and advance within our domains. What we know matters, but who we know matters more, mentioned by Brené Brown. And also courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. And I frequently have new students, new graduates coming to me and saying, well, I'm shy, I don't know how to network, I don't know how to do it. And it's a skill that needs to be developed, and I always advise them, you just have to go out there and you have to try. If you don't try, you're not going to meet anybody. And my first advice to them always as well, if somebody unknown comes to me and say, you have a remarkable story, how can I do the same, how can I follow your steps? I ask, do you have social network representation? Do you have ResearchGate? Do you have LinkedIn? If you don't have it, create it and link to me. Link to me. Make it be the first link, and then it will open unlimited opportunities for you to continue and grow. So connection is essential in this slide. I'm truly proud to be citizen of Canada. I'm truly proud to live for past 30 years in the city of Calgary. This photograph on the top right, I took just walking on the campus the other day. Not this year yet, last year, when the trees were green. And I think it's just incredible. And this particular guy, he was actually my helper in many of my adventures. I don't know his name, but every single bid for major international conference that I put, I had his picture in it, and it worked. So with the help of this gentleman, I secured 6 major international conferences and brought it to Calgary and to Banff. And here, just something just to be inspired is a Photograph of Dallas Arcand. This is Albertan Dance Hoop Championship, 3-time world champion on hoop dancing. And he did amazing inspiration speech about overcoming obstacles and moving along in your career to some of our events that I was organizing. I think it's very, very important to understand indigenous way of knowing and to connect to this community and to hear their wisdom as well. I have his poster in my office signed to me, still hanging for past 10 years. All right, so these are the conferences that we organized. I started with International Conference on Warner Diagrams, then WOTS, 20th Anniversary for Algorithms and Data Structures, then Chance International Conference Cyber War, Cybersecurity, ICCS Conference, National NSERC Women in STEM Career Advancement Workshop. It's hosted about 40 trainees from across Canada and brought in the room about 40 of women and men in leadership role within the Alberta. And we sat together for 2 days and we chatted about obstacles that women face advancing in their career, how to negotiate, how to say no, how to put yourself out there, how to do promotion. We had even one-on-one mentoring session when everybody could bring their CVs and get for advice on specific challenges they're facing. It was inspirational, it was great. And I did it because just the previous year I attended the same workshop and I learned from those remarkable women. That was held at University of British Columbia. And then finally, most recently, Computer Graphics International Conference 2019. So you can look at those pictures, and the photograph on the top left is the very first conference, International Symposium Warning Diagram. My supervisor was there as well. And you can probably tell what's wrong with this picture. There is only one woman in it. But that woman was the chair of this event. So that wasn't that bad. And then we can see that for next conferences and next event, the situation changed already. This is a conference that I run, and we can see way more women in the room. And talking about just keeping eyes high, I'm here with Professor Deoksu Kim from the International Warner Center in Seoul, Korea, and Professor Katisha Sugihara. I was studying by the books. When I was a graduate student, I was studying by their books. I had to pass them through my candidacy exam. It was absolutely incredible to meet them 5 years after. It was more incredible to co-organize event with them 3 more years after. So never aim low, always aim higher. Amazing things can happen if you dream big. And I just want to show you, my graduate student helped me tremendously in creating this amazing diagram. This is our current lab. This is a university I'm currently affiliated with, Bournemouth University, National Center for Computer Animation in UK, where I'm visiting professor. And these are all of our collaborators. Every single place we visited, we created work with, we applied for grants, we trained students together, we accepted students together in my lab. And this list is only growing, and it spans all 5 continents. And then, of course, need to acknowledge our industry collaborators as well, from various projects with MITEX AltaML on tracking and performing data analytics for Alberta, to JOID project on crime prevention, health assessment, understanding heart disease as well. Just gonna adjust my mic. To World of the 21st Century, where I had a privilege to work and meet for the very first time William Galley and do amazing project on RFID effect on the healthcare, on location of the equipment. To Smart and Microsoft collaboration on remote modeling of the gate recognition and remote meeting authentication. To work with Physio4D and Vital Posture Clinic in the city of Calgary to provide artificial intelligence guided rehabilitation for injuries of patients in Alberta. Windsor Global Forex prediction of the trades on the markets, and Agent of Discovery collaborative work with Lalek Behiat and other amazing scientists on creating augmented reality to support education for school children. We started to get noticed on the international community, and I had the privilege to both contribute to discussion on the Parliament Hill within the Canada-UK colloquium on cybersecurity and provide advice to Canadian government of how to mitigate external threats, to most recently guest the Geneva Science Convention, where they look at what are the challenges in the deployment of AI, what are potential threats in the development of generative AI, and how we can use it for the good as a society. And of course, as I mentioned already before, it's always been just my calling. I never thought about it twice to help others around me. So I was involved since high school in tutoring students, and since the very first year as an assistant professor here at the University of Calgary, I joined Cyber Mentor program. It's a collaborative program between University of Calgary and the University of Alberta, where you do one-on-one with young women and young girls and young career professionals, and it brings together not only academicians but also industry leaders. There were many other engagements through the STEM days and through the Women in Society of Petroleum Engineers work, through the Women in Data Science workshops, as well as Ada Lovelace Day and the Diversity in STEM industry branch events. And this is the heart of our operation. This is where we create our work, and we have incredibly insightful conversations and inspiring discussions and truly co-create something together. This is our lab. This is my students. On the very top left photograph is a photograph from the very first social event. We always get together informally to celebrate our achievements. We do it for graduations, for major awards, for major family events. And within this space, this is all of our events and engagements. We try to stay together and try to create something together. You can see quite a few of my students here in social environments. And we also had a chance to communicate our research. This is quite significant. The very first one, you can see our first photograph together with my husband here. We both received Killam Graduate Award, Doctoral Award. And this article says Russian scientist working on computer simulation. And I looked at this interview and I said in this article, I'm trying to find a delicate balance between my work life and my family life. And I think I'm still trying to find it. Yeah, I think it's a never-ending journey, but maybe we're getting closer to it. I want to give a note to two of my amazing colleagues, Professor Svetlana Yanushkevich, with whom we co-established Biometric Technology Lab, and Professor Stefania Bertazon from the Department of Geography, with whom we established Sparks Lab. And both of those were cross-faculty engagement, one with Faculty of Engineering, one with Faculty of Arts. And that was done in 2003, so I think we were doing transdisciplinary research way before it now became a major theme. We had the privilege to present this work at the National Museum of Civilization, that was visited by over 1 million visitors, and it was one of the 7 works collected from across Canada from all researchers, only one from Alberta, only one in computer science domain. And then, of course, Quirt and Quark show, Science Seriously with J. Ingram Discovery Show, and most recently, the art project that we created during this challenging, very difficult times when pandemic hit, and it was represented at the City of Calgary by the ATB Bank, and it's called the Epoch of Biometric and Digital Identity. Chapter 4. I only have 5 chapters, so we're doing good in time. Chapter 4, Discovery Innovation, Ahead of Tomorrow. No great discovery was ever made without bold guess, one of my favorite quotes. Make sure you can hear me. Imagination more important than knowledge, and we have to use it. And it's not the strongest species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change. And it's one of the key words. We have to adapt, we have to go with the changes, we have to embrace it, and we have to make sure we're ready to learn more, and we're ready to learn to do things in a different way that we've done it before. So I'll talk a little bit about biometric recognition and AI, because this is the topic of this keynote. Biometric recognition allows us to establish identity of individual by performing analysis of their physiological, behavioral, and what we introduce within our lab is the concept of social behavioral characteristics or social traits. The history of biometric is fantastic. It started in ancient Babylon, where the traders were using their fingerprints to mark the clay pottery that belonged to them. Then it's continued all the way to the study of the John Evangelista. He was optometrist, but he also studied the fingerprint and their classification. Alphonse Bertillon was a French police officer, and he first used physical measurement of human body to identify criminals. Then back to Sir Francis Galton, and also the less famous cousin of Charles Darwin, who created the work Biometry and studied heredity and statistics. He established that fingerprints are unique, and they can be used to uniquely identify humans. And then finally, FBI created a research center for automated fingerprint and facial recognition around 1969, and since then, that domain started to blossom. So we created Identimark, the first commercial hand geometry recognition system. They were not that popular because they are a little bit bulky and too big. But they were replaced very quickly by face recognition systems, fingerprint and map recognition systems. Apple introduced Touch ID for cell phones in 2013. In 2018, MasterCard started to use fingerprint identification to understand identity of the person using it. So what do we do in our lab right now? Well, we do quite a lot of things. And some of the key topics, one is trustworthy and explainable AI. The second one is privacy-preserving cancelable biometrics. The next one is social media analytics, emotion recognition, behavior recognition from text. And the last one is information fusion, remote authentication, deep learning, confidence estimation of the decisions that we make, aesthetic biometrics, and we study various architecture, generative AI, transformer AI, bimodal AIs. What we try to bring is, because we built in such vast expertise in many of those domains doing classical machine learning, we try to bring this expertise into direct and deep learning to learn those critical patterns. So we call it hybrid deep learning, or domain-specific knowledge-oriented deep learning. And this is what my students create. Essentially, we create complex architectures, and we run them, we test them, we train them, and we see how well they perform in terms of identifying human identity. We also work with various types of information fusion, and this large diagram shows that you can combine information at the level of the original data, at the level of features that we can extract from the data, just come back for a second, or the level of just binary decision making, yes or no. Example of multimodal information fusion given here, where we can combine and analyze faces, fingerprint, and ears, and combine it with social behavioral biometric information stored about human that we obtain from the ways how we communicate and how we share our knowledge in social media. Example of one of our work where we used automatic decision of the hand recognition to identify a person in distress, and examples of social behavioral biometric within all of these various frameworks that appear online media. So we can perform communication analytics, mental health assessment, opinion mining, aesthetic biometric, or online risk assessment based on the hidden things that we express when we communicate to each other. Time of the day when we talk, your friend's network, linguistic patterns, and stylistic patterns as well. More examples of complex biometric flowcharts that we create to perform those works, and deep learning networks. We also co-created this domain, we call it Artimetrics. It's called artificial biometrics, and when my other son was young, he asked whether this was created to honor his name, Art. I said, absolutely, definitely, that was intent. And essentially, we try to apply the knowledge about how humans communicate and how players behave in online environments and virtual reality to identify who they are. So the question that we pose there, is it possible to accurately define person by their aesthetic preferences from images and music? And the answer is yes. We can get up to 95% recognition of person identity from just the music they like or the images they like. Is it possible to identify a person from anonymous piece of writing by their stylistic patterns? And the answer is yes. And we also performed work in the biometric privacy domain because we have to be aware of such amazing opportunities, especially that deep learning creates right now for identification of the person. We have to make sure we can protect our biometric information. And this has to be done, of course, through the legal approaches. It has to be done through the policies, but it also can be done by creating architectures. And this architecture was created by Padma Polish-Paul, who's also here today, is one of the alumni. Now he's has his own company running AI business in Calgary. And that was a cross-folding of different biometric patterns. And then we brought it to the cloud. And this is work of one of my current students right now, Dishapon, who essentially, using deep learning generative AI, can create different identity of the person. You can see his progression in age, and then he used my photograph to also simulate how he might have looked younger or much older. So we did lots of other works, and some of them are quite noteworthy. So we created very first in the world multimodal countable biometric, first system for authorship disambiguation on Wikipedia, first social biometric system to recognize identity based on the tweets. We created integrated technology based on deep learning for physiotherapy, and first multimodal countable biometric on the cloud. All of those received first paper awards or best paper awards at the conferences, but the international conferences. We also worked with different journals, and these are notable papers that were recognized by the journals. We created the Delaunay triangulation-oriented network to understand fingerprints. We applied biometric principle for avatar recognition. We created information fusion and for 3D gate recognition using Kinect. The recent work with Hossein Barin, whom you saw in the video today, on deep learning convolutional network, and recent deep learning architecture for aesthetic biometric system, all were recognized within those frameworks. So now that brings us to the very last chapter, trust and ethics and AI. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we want AI to be fast, safe, reliable, explainable, and fair. The AI origin started with the Rockefeller Foundation, where in around 1960 there was a project set up to see if computer can think and reason as humans. And then, since then, you probably know some of those time lapse. The ELISA was created in 1966, and it's a computer system that could simulate the way how humans communicate to the computer, and the Turing test was passed. Then backpropagation was created in 1982. IBM Deep Blue defended Garry Kasparov in 1997, so computer could excel and be better than humans in terms of how they think and reason. IBM Watson won Jeopardy, and generative adversarial networks, GPT-3, generative AI, and currently Microsoft Copilot, DALL-E, and all the other chatbots advanced further. A few years back, there was a Book of Whales, that was created and won one of the awards in international competition. It was a documentary book, but it was created using AI. So every single picture in this book was fake, the background was true, but the photographs of the people were edited in. And nobody figured out, so the author Bensington mentioned in some it became a fake news story about fake news producers, but it tells us about dangers of AI and how truly we need to be accurate when we use this technology. There's a number of reasons why the AI has to be taken carefully. There is a risk for biased decisions, there is a risk for biased data. The AI systems is a black box, and we need to understand how it works. An AI system may also be ahead of legal regulations, and we need to control messages that we do. There are quite a few different solutions to mitigate unfairness and bias within the AI. So essentially from efficient streamlining of the data pipeline to data-driven decision-making to transparency, accountability within the processes to using visual knowledge discovery to support us and to help us to understand how algorithms work. And of course, there are a number of emerging challenges that I want to maybe bring up before I conclude my talk. Human AI create collaboration and co-create IP. We need to know whom this IP intellectual property belongs. Authenticity in social media becomes very hard to recognize. The created content by AI, is it created by a human, by AI, whom does it belong? It's music, computer code, co-created work, copyright challenges are difficult and need to be acknowledged. Transparency, explainability, adoption, ethics of AI should be studied as well. And then the next development of multimodal AI, casual AI, cognitive neurosymbolic AI is something that's coming along, and we need to have regulations to control it. So I want to mention that transdisciplinary engagement approaches and multifaceted approach based on creating awareness, regulation, ethics, law, and technology is needed to tackle together as a society all those challenges. So what we discovered through this last 20 years of research is both classical machine learning and AI-powered multimodal machine learning are very incredibly powerful techniques that allow to perform identification of human not only based on their physiological, behavioral, but also on their social interaction factors. We also found that AI revolution transformed the society, also created a number of challenges and transdisciplinary approaches needed to tackle them. So I want to close on my lecture today on the couple of notes. The quote by Rachel Ray, "My biggest influences are strong, creative women that chart their own paths, lead their own lives, and drive the course of history." So my career path that I described started from Lomonosov Moscow State University and ended being here on the stage in front of all of you as UCalgary Research Excellence Chair and Acting Associate Dean of Research. But through this career path, there were a number of different awards. We can just skip through those. And I'm truly honored for them. Those awards are important because they celebrate achievements and they bring community together. But let's focus on challenges. It's not always been successful. Before I was admitted to Lomonosov Moscow State University that I looked up from this window in the taxi, I was rejected admission. That was just one-time check, and I had to be in a room with 12 very recognized, very respected scientists and prove to them that I belong. And they asked me this question again, why do you think you can study here? Why do you think you will succeed? And I said, because I know that I can. And that wasn't the last time, it was actually the very first time when I had to say this message. I wasn't successful at my first job interview for a position of professor. One of my papers was unpublished, that's minor. I did not secure my very first discovery grant. And so what I did, next year I applied for discovery grant and for 2 other major grants, and that's how Sparks and BT Lab were created. I decided just continue and work through and be resilient. Went through numerous performance appeals. I was told that I'm very ineffective in my first administrative role, and of course, as a woman and immigrant, I experienced discrimination and bias. And then, because this is a Lifetime Achievement Award lecture, this is life through time, so these are family events. While all of this was going on, in '93 I married my husband. I had my first time writing my PhD dissertation. I had my second son when I was applying for faculty position and dealing with unsuccessful insert grant. I lost my mother and father when my kids were very small, and I wasn't sure if I can pull through and manage and be able to invest time, sufficient amount of time in my family and in my academic career. And then I just had to find the resources, and I had amazing support of my husband here who made it possible. I returned back as a keynote speaker to my alma mater in 2012. That was one of the highlights of my life. And then I'm super proud of achievements of my boys who are related and connected to University of Calgary. And this is my family right here. And With that, here are just few things that I leave you with. These are my lessons, my wisdom that I learned. First, believe in yourself, find your path, capitalize on your own unique strengths, have a vision, plan ahead, invest in yourself and your future. Second, don't be afraid of change, adapt to circumstances, embrace dynamic mindset, creative problem solving, independent thinking. Next one, you probably know this fable about the man, the wind, and the sun, kindness and generosity and true desire to give will open way more door than the brute force. And this is my very famous proverb that I tell to every student when I start my first lecture. It's not an opportunity to come to our door every time, every moment, any second. And it's not enough just to say hi to this opportunity. What you need to do, you need to open the door, you need to welcome opportunity, you need to sit down, have a chat with it, and then something amazing will happen from it. The final one, give, learn from any experience, embrace win, allow imperfection, adapt to change, and define success on your own terms. With that, I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, for those who don't know me, I'm Kristen Bates. I'm the Dean of Science. And this was truly an awesome talk here today. And over the last month, Marina has joined me in the Dean's office as our acting Dean of Research. And everything that she talked to you today, all those skills about giving, being honest with yourself, being clear, networking, having great ideas, this is what Marina has brought to the table. So she has impact in her research, she has impact to her students, her colleagues' life, and I can tell you in the 1 month she's been with us, she's had major impact in what the Faculty of Science is doing. And so it's my great honor to be up here, and we're gonna have a little bit of a Q&A session. And so if you have a question, we have 2 mics. Please come on up. But because those who know me know I really like to ask a lot of questions. So please come and bring up your questions, and I'm going to start with a question. So in 2021, I wasn't here yet, but I heard you did this amazing art display at the Chinook Festival with, is it her name, Vivian Smith?
Yes.
So please tell me a little bit about that display, how you got into the art, and how do you think about humanity through AI, through that piece of art?
Absolutely. We live in a very interesting times. Everything, technological advancement, development of AI, generative AI, brought profound changes to our society. And not only we need to adapt to them and be aware of it, but also it's put the digital identity of the human in the center of everything we do. So all activities that we conduct within our everyday life, whether it's work-related or community-related, all it's now reflected in numerous photographs, text, communications, emails, and other media. So we carry with us almost unique universe of knowledge, connections, and responsibilities and links. And those connections will be explored even more, and they can be explored to create amazing things and to move forward science as we do, let's say, in transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary research, or they can be explored to create more unique experiences, amazing artworks, and to connect people even closer. So in there I put the 2 people who were at the center of this digital display, and everywhere around there works, connection, network, AI, digital worlds, and innovation and research.
Thanks. So, time for questions. Anybody, come on up. So I'm going to keep going. So I know we are both passionate about women in STEM, and actually, how do we make science education and the field a lot more inclusive? And you've done a lot, and yet, you know, the latest statistics that just came out are showing in Canada only 23% of our graduates are in computer science, and in math and stats are women. And let's face it, that's actually gone down in the last 10 years. So what do you think we can do differently to really bring in diverse voices into what truly is an amazing career?
I think we all have to keep doing what we're doing and do more of those events. I think we need to do more engagement and outreach. And I think the key is here is to really don't limit ourselves. I think I tried to send this message through this lecture. Always look and set goals higher. Don't stay within boundaries. If somebody tells you you don't belong and you cannot do it, don't take these words. Because if at any of these times in my career I would listen to those people who say you don't belong, you cannot be here, I definitely wouldn't be here today talking to all of you. So I want to tell you, if you know that you can do it, if there is a young inspiring girl who knows that she want to do it, she should not ever limit yourself. You should just break the boundary and go beyond and above, and we, society, community, friends, mentors, should do everything to support them.
Yep. I wouldn't be here if I listened to hundreds of people along the way, let me tell you. Okay, we're going to start over here.
Hi, and congratulations on a very successful and long career. I'm curious about, on one of your slides there, it talked about bio-identity cancellation. I find in North America, we're quite emotional and focused day to day. However, there's cultures in this world that think in hundreds and thousands of years. And in the news lately, we have the TikTok ban that's everybody's all up in arms about. And I'm curious to, it doesn't matter who owns the data, but whoever gets control of the data, there's hundreds of millions of people who have their face and their eyeballs scanned into an app like that. And I would love to know your kind of doomsday predictions of what happens for when that data, because that's data that can be turned into a passport used in a crime. It can be used to create something as simple as a driver's license or open a bank account. But for the more nefarious things that can be used for, how do we protect ourselves, and what direction do you see that all going in? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll answer it very briefly. So the key to protection is awareness. So we need to be aware about risks that exist there with the data, and then we have to proactively make changes within our actions and decide for ourselves whether we want to put our data out there or not. There are a number of regulations. There's European Union Privacy Commissioner, there is Alberta and US law on proper use of data and AI, and those organizations are tasked with regulating access to the data, storage to the data, and even removal of the data if it's been compromised. Now, with generative AI right now, there is a debate in the United States saying that whether the data used to train all these AI models should be copyrighted, should be made public, should be protected, or should be removed from the training. And this debate is ongoing right now at the top levels, and this will essentially direct the society in the future. But one of the biggest questions that we should ask is the data is authentic, and then how is my data contribute to all this generated data in the world, and who is in control of it? This is just the next chapter in our evolution as human species, and we need to look at how to mitigate it.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I'm sure a lot of people here found it really inspiring, your journey as well. Question from me, is there one or two kind of pieces of advice you'd offer someone just starting out in their academic career?
Sure. I think it's one is learn as much as you can. So self-learning is the best. Always don't limit yourself to opportunities. Try to network and engage in clubs, in workshops, do research project as much as you can, connect to others, and then try to start something. Try to start something new, and try to get yourself in the community of like-minded people, find a good mentor, and you will be very, very successful.
And you should get science done in the Faculty of Science.
Absolutely.
Hi, Marina. Thank you for your presentation. I'm curious to know if, with everything you've experienced, do you feel that you've achieved a work-life balance? And do you have secrets to achieving balance with your academic life, your personal life, your family life?
I work on it. So I wanted to also bring it up and say that when we try to break the status quo and try to go beyond and try to go beyond the limit, we should never say, I can't. So even if we're not there yet, we can say, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working towards this goal, and it's one of my goals, and I know I will be more successful with it tomorrow. I believe that what year showed me that if you're passionate about something, you actually want to put all of your effort in it. And my biggest challenge with this work-life balance is I have to accept imperfection. I have trouble doing it. So essentially, if you want to get everything perfect, then that will take all your time, and you need to allocate your time properly. It's priorities. It's a balancing act, constant balancing act of priorities, where you put your energy and time, where you put your learning, and where you can actually allow yourself to be a little bit less perfect and allow yourself to have space in your life for some other amazing things and opportunities.
Yeah, that is great advice. Be imperfect and be kind to yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Gavrilova, for a wonderful lecture of a lifetime. Congratulations. I've heard you mention the term transdisciplinary multiple times over this lecture, and I wondered if you would perhaps please expand on what this term means to you in the context of your research and what value you sense for transdisciplinarity as a way of the future for research at the University of Calgary.
Thank you so much for this great question. For me personally, it means that we want to extend hand and reach out and build bridges with other scientists and organizations that can support what we're trying to do. So some of the recent projects that I got involved with is, for instance, looking at the mental health state and delivery in Alberta and trying to see if we can use AI properly. So we need people from medicine, physician, nursing, from computer science to come together to work on this project alone. So it's essentially bringing this knowledge that you don't have, bringing people at the same table and trying to tackle problems that we face as a society.
Thank you.
Hello, and congratulations again. Thank you so much. My name is Thomas. My question, I guess, is about, so I've worked as a social worker for years. I'm a mental health therapist. And oftentimes in the roles that I've played, I've had to work with technology to sort of, and sometimes we talk about that in our field of sort of social services, that we're kind of servicing the technology, and that some things I noticed was technology sometimes had us relate to those people that we were working with through the filter of the technology, and we kind of became more, I'm going to say, mechanical in the way that we related to people. Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of curious, with your experience and your years of experience sort of working with AI, biometrics, how has that technology changed you? If you're learning about it, how has it changed how you think about the world, interact about the world? And then vice versa, because one of the things I really appreciated in your presentation was how you were also just a human being experiencing all of your academic experience, but also there was much more to you. So yes, so how has like the technology, the science impacted you, and how do you feel your own sort of humanity, or how do you bring humanity into that technology?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much for that. So I think when we perform research, we want to discover something that we never knew before. And by me being a scientist, I learn a lot about us as humans. I learned that we're very habitual features. I learned that we're very unique. We're unique in our expression and the way we talk, we dress, we communicate. I also learned that we can explore these patterns and we can also change those patterns. So if you talk, for instance, about addiction and mental health problems, that insight is very helpful because we can find the pathways to change direction of this mental health issue to help better the patients to be able to transform and change their life. I learned that change is quite possible, and that on the other side, how technology affected me, I am part of the society. I evolve and move as part of the society. We all here is amazing group of people talking about AI and biometric right now, and we all learn something as a process. So I think it's helped me to learn more about my place in this world, the place of everybody else in this world, and look a little bit beyond. Like, look, there's one of the slides that says ahead of tomorrow, so it just helps us to maybe open the way a little bit and see ahead of tomorrow, and look at amazing new drugs that will be created to cure humans and chronic diseases right now, or create amazing opportunities for people to grow, for education of the same young women who would like to join STEM. You know, we can maybe use technology to generate and create some amazing opportunities in real or virtual world. So I think the opportunities are truly endless, and I'm just, every day when I come to work, I come truly excited to sit with my students and talk about what we can do to advance the future and bring it closer.
I love that idea, using AI to answer that question. Like, how do we get more women into STEM fields? Like, maybe the answer is out there and we need to use our own technology. So we have time, unfortunately, only for one more question. But Marina will be here at the reception. We'll have lots of questions there too.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, as an accountant, my limited knowledge regard to artificial intelligence in regard to NVIDIA, the chip company, the stock increased from $200 to $900 within 1 year, and suddenly last Friday it dropped like 10%. So I'm not asking stock advice, but I'm just asking from you, expert opinion, like, is that AI a bubble, or is that AI like still continue development for the next like how many years to go, or what stage we're in the AI research? Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat that last part? We had a hard time hearing.
Bring the microphone down a little bit, because we had a bit of trouble hearing you. Sorry,
So my question is, because there is a comment about AI is in bubble and things like that. So I just want to hear you expert advice regard to what stage or AI research are in, and what you see for the future, how many years to go to come regard to the AI research and development. Thank you.
Sure. I think as far as I understand, it's a question of which stage AI is right now and what we're going to expect. So I will repeat the words of Yuval Harari, famous researcher and historian who did the presentation at the GESDA convention that I had the privilege to hear, and he said that AI right now is a baby just trying to crawl and walk. And imagine what's going to happen when this baby is going to learn to talk and to move. And I'm of the same stage. I think the development of this technology will only accelerate. We already have seen it on some of my slides. I tried to convey it. It was, starting slow with some of the initial development, and then literally in the last year we have AI that can generate images from music. We have next direction is multimodal AI that can actually understand and grasp and perceive this whole room at the same time, the sound, the music, the voice, the air, the temperature. And then the next development is casual AI. Casual AI is not a basic AI right now that can just look at the picture and copy it and regenerate it similarly. Synthesize it, is going to learn to think and reason and plan for the future. And then it already can prove theorems, it already can write code, it already can write legal documents. So it's only going to accelerate even faster, and we just have to, stay with this development and be aware of it.
All right. We'll have one last question, because this is a fascinating topic, but I am going to be pulled off the stage soon.
Fascinating, and I really appreciate your taking the opportunity to speak to this point, because it is a very interesting point. It seems like in the research that you're providing for artificial intelligence that we're creating opportunities for a new kind of life, potentially. And recognizing that these tools, perhaps, or these algorithms that we've created, in their observing us and in their facilitating human growth and creating human art, I wonder what committees or commissions or conversations are taking place to advocate for the rights of AI, and rather than just shutting them off or deleting them once they've served their purpose.
Advocate for rights of AI.
We consider the artificial life that we're creating to actually be a life, and at what point does that life have rights?
Right. This is ethical debate that's happening around the world. So I think in Yuval Harari book that came before AI, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, he actually looked at the future in which human will be having very long lifespan, all the diseases will be eliminated, and we will co-create something together with potential help of new amazing AI algorithms. Some of the publishers allow AI to be considered as a co-author. There is a discussion right now of how we create intellectual property created by AI or co-created by AI and humans, and how we can protect it. There's been AI sitting on the CEO boards and making decisions actually for the companies. And it's quite fascinating where the future goes, but as always, we need as a society to see how we're going to adapt to this change and how we're going to welcome AI at the table as well, if that's going to happen.
Thank you.
Wow, well, that was an amazing thing to end to think about, right? Like, yeah, is AI going to be a creature one day and with rights? I think that's, I don't know, the future is ours to decide.
Yeah.
So with that, I really want to thank you for this amazing presentation. And, as the Dean of Science, this has been a real honor, because this is the first time that a representative from science has done a lecture of a lifetime. And that really reflects all the exciting things that are happening right now in the Faculty of Science. In the 2024 budget from the government of Alberta, they committed funding to build a new state-of-the-art science building right here on campus. I didn't plant people to clap, but this is probably one of the biggest achievements that we have done in decades, because this will be one of the most advanced facilities in all of Canada for science research, transdisciplinary research, and education, right here at the University of Calgary. It's going to transform how we do research. It's also going to transform education, because our goal here is to be the STEM talent pipeline for Alberta. And our graduates are going to change the economy, they're going to change the world, just like Marina's research does here. And that really shows what we do. Marina has shown us today all the amazing things that she does. And that's just one little bit of what goes on in the Faculty of Science, where we like to say, we get science done. And speaking of Get Science Done, that's the name of the Faculty of Science new strategic plan, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but it really does embody what we do. We are here to answer the world's big questions. And if you had a good time here tonight and you want to learn more about the Faculty of Science, on May 22nd, we will be launching our new strategic plan, and that'll take place downtown at Ampersand. We're going to have lots of fun activities, presentations, a panel, and lots of fun. I think the decision was made tonight. We're going to have some science theme food for us to have. So just wait for that. Everyone in this room will get an invite. So I hope you join us on May 22nd to learn more about science at University of Calgary. And now with that, it's my great pleasure to invite University of Calgary's Vice President of Research, Dr. Bill Galley, sometimes goes by William Galley, on the stage to give tonight's closing remarks.
So I'm going to just make some very brief closing remarks, and I'm here actually on behalf of President Ed McCauley. Ed is at home, sick with a flu-like illness, so I'm a doctor, so I told him stay home, drink some chicken soup. And thank you, Marina, and congratulations. I have a claim to fame, and that is that I had the opportunity to work with Marina on a project in a healthcare setting, and she mentioned it on one of the slides, also with Shika. I don't know if I should tell them that we tested an RFID Wi-Fi system for location tracking in healthcare, ... And it was useless. It didn't work. It didn't work. It drove nurses crazy. It drove doctors crazy. Patients didn't like it. But that's research and innovation, isn't it, Marina?
Absolutely.
Sometimes, we have a saying, start something at the University of Calgary, also test something, disrupt something. I think we did all of that, but it was a real pleasure, and it was great working with Shika as well. I did just want to draw attention to the fact that Marina really touches on many things. She mentions the word start something in her presentation. She says eyes high, and you say that it's a philosophy that you've had, and you probably had that as a philosophy before we used that phrase for our strategic plan in 2011, 2012. So before eyes high was eyes high, Marina was eyes high. Before ahead of tomorrow was our phrase. I think Marina was ahead of tomorrow, and obviously start something is something that Marina has done over and over. So thank you for your words and insight tonight. Thank you for delivering one of the highest honors of the University of Calgary. It's a high honor. Congratulations, Kristen, on having Marina be the first lecturer of a lifetime from the Faculty of Science. We won't wait 16 years for the next contribution from your faculty. It's a very exciting time in the Faculty of Science, and Kristen, you and your team are doing a great job. Thank you, Marina, for being one of our University of Calgary Research Excellence Chair holders. This is a program that is all about advancing interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary initiatives at the university, and you can see, again, that Marina's ahead of her time. She's been doing it before anyone was really talking about it. And as you know, you've heard some of the things. She's authored more than 300 publications, delivered more than 100 keynote lectures like this one. And after hearing you today, Marina, there's no mystery as to why that is. So please join me in thanking and congratulating Marina Gavrilova, a University of Calgary alumnus, a professor here for over 20 years, an honored member of the Order of the University of Calgary. We could not have chosen a more worthy scholar to deliver this year's Lecture of a Lifetime. And I was supposed to invite Two Clap Cornish to the stage to do a two clap for him and a two clap for Marina Gavrilova.